Your precious blood has ransomed me.
The showpiece and say, we've got the best choir, we've got the most brilliant preacher, we've got this and so what?
These hands that should embrace you, Lord.
2 Samuel 6 we read from verse 1. Again David gathered together all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David arose and went with all the people that were with him from Baale of Judah to bring up from thence the ark of God, whose name is called by the name of the Lord of hosts, that dwelleth between the cherubims. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart, and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah, and Uzzah and Ahio, that's not a state, that's the name of a man. The sons of Abinadab drave the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was at Gibeah, accompanying the ark of God, and Ahio went before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel played before the Lord on all instruments, manner of instruments, made of fir wood, even on harps and psalteries, on timbrels, on cornets and cymbals. And when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah. And God smote him there for his error, and there he died by the ark of God. Let's look a minute here in the 25th chapter of Exodus. Exodus chapter 25. To Israel, they had never had any covering in the sense of a tabernacle. They'd been nomads. They'd had no priests. They'd had the heavens for the ceiling of their church, if you like. And now suddenly, instead of being enlarged, they're contracted to a small space that's called, has been called again, the tabernacle in the wilderness. And God gives specific instructions to this amazing man Moses about the building. It's very interesting that he had no choice in this. He obeyed every commandment God gave to him. He had no more choice in the colors of the thing any more than Noah had a choice of what kind of a rainbow he wanted. And it says in verse 8 of the 25th chapter of Exodus, let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it. Okay, come down to verse 17. Thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold, of beaten work shalt thou make them, in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. And make 1 cherub on one end, and the other cherub on the other. Even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Towards the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee, and there will I meet with thee. Now that's the first piece of furniture mentioned as regards the tabernacle. It was roughly 54 inches long, this ark. It was 3 feet high and 3 feet wide. And it was a visible presence of an invisible power. It was a kind of an earthly resting place where God put his power between those awesome cherubims. Remember how often the psalmist cries, O thou that dwellest between the cherubims, shine forth. Now here is the ark. And the measurements are given to us. Verse 22 says, there will I meet with thee. And that was a supreme desire of God. It's the supreme desire of God today, that when we come together, we meet with him. As I usually ask people when somewhere in a meeting, did you come here, or did you come here tonight to meet God, or did you come to hear a sermon about him? I talked with somebody today, an internationally known figure, who said, you know, I'm realizing how little I know of God. And I had offered somebody a sermon that that's the most profound thing I've ever heard. And this person said, I feel as though I don't want to preach anymore. I said, well, that's how I felt when I heard the depth that this man has. Talking about Jesus laying his glory by and being wrapped in our clay. Oh, God pity us. We're so commercialized, we're so regulated by circumstances, we get up with the clock runs our lives, that we lose sight of eternity, we lose sight of the wonder of God's salvation. And then there's to be a place, a holy place, and then not only a holy place, but the Holy of Holies. And this ark was put not in the holy place, it's put in the Holy of Holies, and it has the chief place in the Holy of Holies, and inside of it you have the rod that budded, and you have a sample of the manna that fell from heaven, and it didn't get worms in it either. And there you have the tables of stone. This testimony of God has to be preserved. And the ark is an abiding place for God on earth. That is, he manifests himself there. You see, this is some little bit of furniture that's tucked away in a corner that has no meaning. It's the abiding place. If you like, it's the seat, it's the dwelling place. You have the ark, and then on the top of the ark you have a mercy seat. The Salvation Army never used to talk about coming to the altar. They used to sing. I can remember that years ago, 60, 70 years ago, when the army used to sing, "Come to the mercy seat, fervently kneel. Here bring you wounded heart. Here tell your anguish. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal." There's a mercy seat. A blood-sprinkled mercy seat.
These hands that should embrace you, Lord, instead have drawn a rebel sword.